Hello, this is a brief overview of the functionality of pivot tables within the ADSBI data structure. Today I'm going to be looking at a McSys ERA pivot that I have, and with this we'll be able to show you how to pivot on data, what types of data you can see, how quick it is, the types of calculations you can do, and a really nice feature of drill down capability to figure out, I've aggregated some data, I want to know specifically what is the numbers that make that data. Well, you could do that within Excel and the pivot table functionality within ADSBI. So the table that I'm looking at today is one called VW underscore McSys ERA. So this is a kind of accumulation of data that is your payments from McSys. So if you haven't had a lot of exposure to pivot tables, all it really is the aggregation of data into columns and rows where you can quickly move things around through drag and drop capability in Excel, and you're able to do your own kind of ad hoc reporting. There isn't once you had the table and view in, there isn't a lot. It actually isn't a lot of technical expertise that you need. It's a matter of just knowing how to move things around and to right click and drill down on the information that you want. So it definitely is something that you need to explore. But today what we're going to look at is this table. Now I am going to start here with what I call a net paid amount. In our four little label columns down here, we have report filter, we have column labels, row and labels here, and then values. The values area is where you're actually going to be doing your counting, your summing, your averages. You can do standard deviations. You can do all kinds of statistical analysis in this field. The most basic one I'm going to show you today is just summing our payments. I want to know exactly how much I've been paid for certain things. So in here I have a total payment amount up here in my column. Now again, this is Excel. You can actually have this data and make it look how you want it to look, like any other field. So I'm going to make that look like a dollar amount. So again, what you'll see here is once I highlighted out of that column, my field list went away. But once I come back into it, it actually appears again. So it's kind of a toggle view of these are my fields, here's my sort and grouping criteria. Now one of the things I want to do today is also look at, let's say I wanted to group this stuff by the service itself. Let's actually do the service category. It'll be a little bit cleaner. All you have to do is highlight that, drag it down to a rule label, and let go. What it does then, now my payments are not one big lump sum, they're actually split out by the type of service that I'm doing, and then you can see a grand total amount at the bottom. It's a nice way to, again, all I did was take that, and if I wanted to take that away, let's say that's not how I wanted to see it, I just grab it, take it, highlight it, drop it off the table. Now I'm back to my net paid amount. Let's say I wanted to do it actually more or less by the program. So I can take my program name, drag it down to row labels. Now I have my programs. So now I'm specifying, I can see my program lines come over. And let's say I wanted to do that by the month. So at the top I can go by month of service. I can bring my column labels over. Now I have 1, 2, January, February, March over. And now I can see my program payments by month. And I can do that instantaneously. Which is again the real powerfulness of the real power of the pivot table functionality in Excel is that we can quickly come in and manipulate data quite a bit. Now let's say I don't want there's a particular service category that I have linked in here that I don't want to see. What you can do is actually take your service category, bring it within filter, and now up here at the top you can see I have a filter up here for service category. I can then hit select multiple items, and I'll open this up a little bit. It has a listing of all my services. Let's say I only want to bring in, I really want to know how I'm doing on housing. Let's do individual counseling. And I can unhighlight all and just hit individual counseling. So now I'm going to hit OK, and now you can see my numbers are quite a bit different. You see in program 4 is most of my individual counseling takes place, but I have some other individual counseling things. One of the side effects of what you're going to see here is you'll go and you'll look at your data and you'll say, well, why do I have $562 in July in program 3? I should never have individual counseling in program 3. Why did it happen this month? Well, if you want to know what that is, you basically can highlight on it and double click it. Now you have all the information about that transaction. You have the patient control number, you have the check number, the modifier, data service, and you have all the information that we're able to pivot on. You have that all right here. So you had the year of the check, the month of the check, was it over or under applied, remit file name. Now there are other demonstrations out there that'll pick apart the view McSys file, this McSys ERA file, but just know that you can drill down and find what the units of service are and all these different amounts, as long as your vendor software accepts that type of data or collects it. You see the check number, the check run date, the procedure codes, modifiers, all kinds of stuff. And then what that did is it just opened up another sheet. If I wanted to pick another one, let's say I want to know, let's say the 1700, why am I getting that in that month? Well, here I've got a whole nother listing of those things. The other great thing about this is then I can actually come in here. It looks like it all happened, within a certain given period of time. I can actually come up here and even do more drill down. I can say, well, I want to sort it differently, or I only want to look at November or December, so I can hit there. Now I can further subdivide my data down and begin to even make sure I want to look at Medicaid amounts. I can continue to drill down and find out more things about my data, especially the report when you get a question from your board. What are my Medicaid units for this service for this particular date range, for maybe this type of client? Those are the types of capabilities that you have to do very quickly, and then you can save this workbook, and then the next time you come in, you can save a different copy of it and actually start to manipulate it in a different way. All the features of Excel are right here. Other things about this, again, I told you about the values. If you come down here and select values, you hit value settings. You can actually do counts, averages, min, maxes. You can actually do percentages if you wanted to do percentage of a particular row, particular difference from a particular column. You can do those types of things. So lots of power within the actual code itself. Now, what you can also do is you can create your own computed columns. You can highlight and cut and paste. So if I wanted to cut and paste this, I can do a copy, come down here. Now, you don't want to actually paste it the way you typically paste it. You want to paste special, and you want to do values. So now you can come down here and actually manipulate the values without touching your pivot table up here, because you cannot modify this. You can see I'm trying to change it. I can't do that. Down here, if I wanted to add maybe an additional row of something, I can do that and actually change fields down here, so I can make changes. I cannot change things within the pivot table itself. So if I wanted to add computed columns, if I wanted to add rows, I can take this and actually move it to a different sheet and do my own little analysis on that as well. So I would consider it more drill down reporting on that. So within Excel, you can do a lot of things within the pivot table space. Again, there are charting capabilities as well. There's plenty of books on how to create Excel charts and graphs, but you can actually come in here, and I think it's in the insert. You can do a insert of a let's do a line chart. You can actually take that and bring that down. Now this is also tied to the filter. So if I make changes up here, if I don't sort by that, I'd go ahead and do all my table and charts will definitely change for me. So you can see now my ranges are quite a bit different than they were before when I did that. If I come back, I just hit the Control Z button to undo that. You can see whatever is up here will now modify down to my chart. I can make this grow, I can expand it, I can do all types of things within the charting space within Excel to make really quick graphs and charts of the data that I'm seeing. And again, I'm looking at a McSys ERA file. I can do this with any of the right now 20 views, and could be a limitless amount of views that I could create on my data, and it would be good every single time I bring this data in. Now, the other thing about the pivot table itself is I'm going to right click on the pivot table and hit pivot table options. I can have this, let's go under here for data. I can refresh this data when it opens. So what happens is if I open this up, I sit here, I do this 1 month, and I come in the next month, and I want this to I want this data update for me automatically without me thinking about it. I can hit refresh data file and open. So the next time when I open this data, it'll say, do you want to update the data? Hit OK. All the data updates from the ADSBI database. If not, it'll stay like this. So you have a view that is not updated, and there's reasons for and against that as far as snapshotting data, so it doesn't move on you. So this refresh data and opening file should only be done if you want it to update and you want to see a snapshot, and you're really not reporting this necessarily to anybody. But that's how you would do that. So that's an overview of how to pivot around on the ADSBI database. Again, there will be other specific documentation on the particular views themselves and on what all these fields and names mean. But this is a general idea of how to get around. So thank you very much.